I think I've always loved mosaic because it's a very physical art form. It's very durable and very tangible. And I'm trained as a mechanical engineer, so as a mechie who likes making physical things, mosaic just seems obvious to me as the art form that I would like because it's that kind of physical thing. I used to actually do bronze casting when I was at Stanford. I used to teach that in one of the shops, and I loved bronze and aluminum casting because of the same idea. Once you melt that metal, to thousands of degrees and pour it into that mold, that thing you just made is that way forever. And so I've always had been attracted to these physical art forms, and mosaic has been a passion. So fast forward to finishing up at MIT 6 years ago, and I had this toolkit of skills in robotics and image processing, and I had this passion for the mosaic art form. And everybody always asks me, how do you get, where did the idea for Artaic come from? And I wish I had a more clever answer, but there was a certain light bulb moment that I don't even remember what it was. I wasn't in the shower one morning, cleaning or anything like that. But it just, somewhere I put these two things together, my right brain and my left brain. And I said, that mosaic art form must be incredibly labor intensive to make. There's a huge amount of human labor and skill in it, and it must be very expensive. And you consider what's happening with offshoring and a lot of taking manufacturing out of the United States where it's very expensive to manufacture and offshoring it to low-cost countries like China or India. And I said, boy, mosaic probably has followed a similar pattern. And I looked at the industry and I realized that that's what's happened. It's very hard to buy a mosaic in the United States, especially if you're doing a big commercial job for a hotel or a casino. If you go into a casino or hotel in the United States, for example, it's probably going to be something made in China. And so I learned this, and I said, well, this technology toolkit I have, I could really enhance the artistry by bringing design tools to artists, and I can lower the cost by having robots just do the basic assembly. And that was sort of the light bulb moment. And and I was sort of developing that. I developed a business plan like any good business entrepreneur person should do. And I just restarted researching the market, the industry. Does anybody have an idea how much tile is sold around the world every year? Anyone want to make a guess?
A lot.
$1,000, $1 million? There's $80 billion worth of tile sold around the world every year. Now it's just tile. That's the tile market. That's not mosaic. I think of the industry as a pyramid. The basic stuff, which is under $10 a square foot, is what you find at Home Depot, and it's one color or two colors blended. But when you look at the market, and when you get up to the more artistic stuff, that's murals or actual imagery, it's a much smaller part of the market because it's so darn expensive. It can be over $200 a square foot. So I realized that with the technology, you could take that really high-end, beautiful combination of tile that formerly was very expensive and inaccessible, and bring it down to make it more accessible to more people. I think at the end of the day, I would love to have a beautiful mosaic in my house, maybe my kitchen or my bathroom, and I can't afford it. So I was like, I'll start this company, and so that one day I can afford to buy mosaic and have it in my house so I can enjoy the beauty of the art, the art form. So that was kind of the spark or the beginning of the idea. I found Paul, a month or three after that. We worked out of my kitchen through the first summer.
We had piles of tile.
Piles of tile. We're like, what is this stuff? I mean, neither of us came from the tile industry, and we were just really educating ourselves about the medium, the material, the sources, and how to sell it. My father was like, oh, just walk into a hotel and bring them a thing and just tell them to buy it, And it turns out the people who were in the hotel did not make any decisions about how to build the hotel. It's the architects and interior designers who were hired months or years before in the design phase. So we've learned a lot about that process and how to reach those people when they're thinking about the design of a space to be in front and have our product in front of them. So we started in the kitchen. We came up with the name, and I just had a simple rule, which is make it, not too many letters, make it mean nothing so that you can develop the meaning as you grow the company.
And make sure the URL is
available. Yeah, yeah.
Which is getting harder and harder.
And bonus points if it starts with an A, which is nice. So that's where it came from. So we got, kind of fast forward today, does everybody know where the design center is down the road here? Formerly the Boston Design Center, now the Innovation and Design Building. We decided early on to try to locate in that area because that's the epicenter of design for New England.
This is the epicenter, but that's the...
Right. It turns out that the design center is the epicenter for high-end residential design, not so much for commercial design. But you get a lot of architecture firms. The big commercial architecture firms are based down around that area. So it's been great for us to have our company there and have our factory there. So people, when we go and visit architects, we say, we're in Boston. That sounds great, but where do you actually make the product? Because they assume that you can't manufacture something efficiently in the city of Boston. You have to move out to low-cost area. And we say, no, we're actually, we have machines and robots, and we
especially in our little studio.
Our little studio, yeah. So, if anybody would like to come see us, you can Google us and find our address, and a few people have done that. So we're up to about a dozen people now on staff, and we have and production folks. We have 2 robots now. The second one just came online in October, and the first robot, our goal was to make it 10 times faster than a human. I've been to a number of the facilities where the established tile companies, mosaic companies, have laborers assembling tiles by hand, and I'm not talking about the artists, the artisans, the mosaicists who are artists in the medium who are creating and designing and fabricating at the same time. That's a kind of a much higher art form or a different art form. I'm talking about the, dare I say, sort of sweatshop labor where there's a printout on a piece of paper of a grid of numbers, and a person has to go to little cups full of tile, and each cup has a number on the cup. And they're basically just going by numbers all day long. 273, go find it and stick it into the grid position 722, and they're just doing that all day. There's not a lot of creativity. There's no creativity in that process. That's just pure labor. So when I clocked that in some of these factories, I just said, well, we can make a robot that's 10 times faster than that. And so we did that in the beginning. And just last month, our new robot came online, which is 10 times faster again. So we're now up to about 100 times faster in our production capacity than a sweatshop laborer would be. And we can do it at a cost that's on par with a low-cost country.